Okay, this is me and my friend Cassidy's wood shop. Rules and things that are supposed to be expected into it. So, this is me, Kennedy. And this is Cassidy. So, we are going to start with our safety rules. First things first, we need to have goggles or glasses. So these goggles are mostly meant for people who have actual glasses because they're just better over.
Okay, well,
And
we'll just wait.
these ones are for just other goggles that you're supposed to use. Another thing you have to know is always have shoes on. Like, you can't have your toes showing, no flip-flops. Flats are alright as long as they cover your toes. Like, so, just make sure you always have good, proper shoes on in wood shop.
Third thing is if you have long hair, you have to pull it back.
Which I don't.
So it doesn't get caught in the machine.
Okay?
Fourth thing is make sure you tuck in baggy clothing so it doesn't get caught in the machine. And always take off jewelry on your wrists, rings, bracelets, anything.
Be careful. Another thing that you have to remember is that make sure your teacher's in your room. Because if you don't have a teacher in your room, then it could be really unsafe with. Especially like when it's just like there's a lot of machines around you starting, you don't want to get hurt or anything, and make sure that there's always a teacher around. Another thing you have to know is that you always have to remember what you make in class is very important too, because you can't make anything inappropriate or something that's very violent. You can't make any weapons, you can't make anything that could be like a blade or even just like a pencil that you like to make it. It's still sharp and it has no lead in it, then it's more of a weapon than it is a pencil. So just make sure you know what you're making in your shop. Yeah.
Another thing you also need to know is that there is no fooling around, because if someone's using any type of machine and you're running around and fooling around and bumping into them, they can get really injured. Also, if you ever need help in any kind of project, always ask. The teacher will always help you no matter what.
Another thing that you should always remember, we had to pick one machine that we could explain that would help you guys understand a little bit more about wood shop. So we picked the disc sander. Don't mind the belt sander in the back, just always like this one. So you have to always make sure that when you have a piece of wood that you want to shave down a little bit this, you have to have it on the downside, on the right. If you have it on the left, it could fly up and hit you right in the face, and that is very dangerous. So always make sure it's on the downside. Also, make sure you have a new cover over this, because you can see how this is pretty new still, but once it starts getting black, it can burn your wood or make it black. So just always make sure that once it's starting to get worn out, that you always change it. All things in the wood shop can be dangerous in their own qualities. So, for instance, the bandsaw. It can be dangerous because it is very sharp and it goes up and down, so when you push your wood in, it will cut it in half. Make sure you have no jewelry or anything on. These are most of the rules here. Quickly read through them. You can hold it there for a couple seconds, but that's what you have to remember with the bandsaw.
Another machine that you need to be careful with is the box sander. You always have to make sure that you have a pad on before you use it and turn it on. And if it's worn out, see this one's kind of worn out, you make sure you change it. And once you're finished with it, before you put it down on the ground, you have to make sure it stops spinning, because then it could fly everywhere.
Also, another thing to remember about that is that make sure you give it a running start. Make sure that it's working fine, because it's a drill tool. It's powered, so just make sure of that. So this is the spindle machine. Spindle sander, sorry. So make sure you always have the air on, because if it, just make sure. Also, there's more rules here, jewelry and everything off, sleeves rolled up. Just also the main rules about that. It is a little bit warm after, so be careful with your wood, because it can be a little bit hot at some points. But this one mostly just shapes around corners in case they're a little bit bumpy or have scratches on them. So if you had a piece of wood that was curved and really had lines on it, you can shape it out and it will come right off.
Another machine is the drill press. When you use it, if you want to change bits, you use the key that is usually attached to the machine, but sometimes it isn't. So you just put it in here and you twist and then your thing comes out. But make sure when you are done with the key, you take it out because it could get caught up in the machine and that would not be good.
It could spin.
When you are using it to make the hole, you pull it down, loosen it. You just use this thing to loosen it to make it go down farther. So what you do is you pull this and you just pull it, but make sure when you are done, you don't let it go. You take it with you. You don't just like let it go anywhere. You don't just let it go. And when you are doing a project of some sort, make sure that if the wood is really thin or you're just doing free time, make sure you have a piece of wood under the wood you were using. So you put this big piece of wood under, and then you put this over top, and then you would turn it on, and then you would drill it in, and then you would be done. One last thing is that when you're doing a project or free time or anything, you don't want your wood, when you're drilling, you don't want your wood to fly everywhere, so you use a clamp. You'll clamp the wood on this side, the opposite side of where you pull down. So you just open it, and then you pull this, and then you squeeze this to tighten it, and then you tighten it so your wood doesn't fly everywhere.
So this is the end of our video. I hope you guys enjoyed the wood shop and hopefully you learned some more things about safety with rules. So hope you like and subscribe this video, but this is Cassidy. Cassidy. Okay. Bye. Let's go.